Shannon FM on 105 FM, uniting our community.
Good afternoon, it's Sue Miller here with the Indie Author Show. I can't believe how a fortnight has gone by so quickly, and I'm back again. Lots to talk to you about today. We've got Indie Author Week coming up. We've just had the Wrexham Carnival of Words, and the sun is shining, so what more can we ask for? I'm actually in the studio by myself today, so you're just going to be listening to me rattling on about some of the things that are coming up in independent author world. So what I wanted to chat to you about today was Indie Author Week. Now, we set Indie Author Week up because there seems to be an awareness day or an awareness month for everything you can possibly think of. But when I was doing a bit of research, I thought, well, there's nothing to support or celebrate independent authors. So the week of the 9th to the 16th of June is all about you, the independent author. And what we're trying to do is encourage you to set up an event at your local library or perhaps at a bookshop, at a cafe, somewhere where you can just celebrate the fact that you are an independent author and how much work that you've gone through. You know, if you are someone who doesn't have an agent or a trade publisher, it can be quite difficult getting the word out there. You've written your book, you've done a bit of social media, you've tried your best you've sold your book to your friends, your family. So how do we let the rest of the readers know that you're there? It is kind of the hardest part of self-publishing your own book is marketing it to the right people and getting people to buy your book, because independent authors, just because you don't have an agent or a publisher behind you doesn't mean that your story isn't a good one and that lots of readers will enjoy it. So that's basically what Indie Author Week UK is all about. I've added the UK onto it because actually if you do Google Indie Author Week, you will find that there is one somewhere in America. Just in one area of America. So just so that we didn't have any confusion about it, I added UK to the end of it. Now you can go to our Facebook page, which is at Indie Author Week UK, or you can go to our website, which is at indieauthorweekuk.org. And a shout out to Phil Burrows, who's part of Team Author UK, who's maintaining that website, set it up for us and maintaining that. So thank you very much, Phil. And also, you'll see if you go to our Facebook page for the Northwest, anyways, the bulk of our events in the local area in the Northwest, let's say, are coming out of Liverpool. So a big shout out to Jude Lennon for that. Jude is a storyteller and children's author, and she understands the value of promoting your work and is very, very good at it. So thank you, Jude, and thank you for organizing and promoting these events. If you go to the Facebook page, you can see them quite easily. So you can see the dates. There's a couple on the 11th of June, both in Liverpool. Then there's one on the 12th of June at Lifestyle Collective in Liverpool. There's an open mic event on the 15th of June. And there's a children's event at Right Blend on the 15th of June. And then, I think there's, and Bob Stone at Right Blend, who's the owner of Right Blend, but is also an author himself, is launching his book in the evening of the 15th of June. So if you want to pop over to Right Blend in Waterloo area of Liverpool, that's on Friday, the 15th of June. And from 4 o'clock, we've got several children's authors, and then a little break. Bob has a nice cafe with coffee, tea, muffins, cakes, and all sorts, really. So you can have a little something to eat and then stick around for Bob's launch of his book at 7 o'clock. So, I'm just, come back and talk to you a little bit more about independent authors and kind of what the journey is that they have to go through. We also, Team Author is launching a book called Poetry and Prose in Motion. And what we've done is asked all our independent authors if they'd like to submit something a short story, a poem. It could be fiction, nonfiction, children's, and we actually have several people who've contributed to that, and we've got some illustrators. Some of Team Author's illustrators are contributing to the book as well. Alan Jones has done the cover. It's brilliant. So I'll post that in our Facebook page, Team Author UK, and also Indie Author Show. So you can see what that's about. That's being launched on the 16th of June. So quite a packed week. We're hoping to have something around Shropshire and in Wrexham as well. The story of my life, that's what we're trying to celebrate during Indie Author Week UK, the 9th to 16th of June. This book I was telling you about, called Poetry and Prose in Motion, which Alan Jones has done a brilliant cover for. I was just counting them up. We've got over 50 contributors to the book, so it's going to be brilliant. You'll be able to buy it on Amazon. Should be available to purchase on Amazon mid to late June. We're actually launching it on the 16th of June, which is Team Author UK's second anniversary. It's kind of a private event that we're having with all of the contributors have been invited, and anyone who's published with Team Author can attend that event. So I'm really looking forward to it. We've got, as I said, we've got some fiction, nonfiction, just a few nonfictions, but some poetry as well. And quite a few children's. We do have quite a few children's authors actually as part of Team Authors, so that makes sense. And I'm looking forward to illustrations from Carol Chevalier, Lisa Williams, Holly Bushnell, and Alan Jones, who are our main illustrators as part of Team Author UK. Now, what is Team Author UK? Well, I don't always talk about this, but since I'm here by myself today, I just want to explain a little bit what's behind it. I set this up 2 years ago, when prior to that, I was All Words Matter. So some of my listeners still know me as All Words Matter, where I do proofreading and editing, and I did a bit of copywriting as well. But then I started meeting up with authors. One of them, my very first one really, was Nikki Abel Francis, and her book is called Rekindling Connections. It's a kind of a chick lit book, but that was the very first book that I did, and that was, maybe 3 years ago, and it's just kind of snowballed since then. I've had mostly word of mouth, a lot of referrals from Jude Lennon, who now does author workshops and retreats with Team Author UK. She's as I said, children's writer. So she, through those courses, obviously people will come to the courses and then they come away with a book nearly written, and then, of course, then they want to publish it. So I also got a lot of clients through BizMoms, which is a networking organization set up by Michelle Childs that I have attended since day one. BizMoms, as the name says, supports, we do say it is called BizMoms, but not all members of the networking group are mums, actually. But it was primarily set up for mums with children who perhaps had a business from home and just needed to get out and have some adult company and get some support with their business. So that's what that networking group's about, and it's flourishing all over the UK. So there's lots of my authors have come from that group, because not only do we meet face to face for those of us who have events local to us, but we also have a very thriving Facebook community. So big shout out to BizMoms, because Team Author UK would not be where it is without BizMoms, I'd have to say, and all the people that have come from that. So basically, I just found that more and more first-time writers were coming to me through referrals and word of mouth, and needing my help to help them self-publish the book. So that's when Team Author UK was born, and we brought on board designers, illustrators, social media experts. Jan Kiermaz helps with our social media. We've got Phil Burrows, who does our websites. we've got Lorna McCann who does our PR for us. A lot of the people that do work with Team Author are actually authors themselves. So that's a big plus because they know what a first-time author's going through, and we've kind of all made our mistakes in the early days, and I feel that every day we're learning, we're doing things better and things differently, and our mission really is to help primarily first-time writers to get their book published. So that's what Team Author UK does. And as I said, we've got a Facebook page, which is quite active. And once you become part of the Team Author UK community or family, we do have private Facebook groups, and we have special events that only you are invited to, and tons of support from myself and the team members, but also the other authors. We all kind of muck in and help each other. So it is a very, very thriving and busy community, and we're all working together to try to be successful and try to find ways to get readers to be aware of our books. So that brings me back to Indie Author Week UK, which is why we set that up, to just take a week out of the year and really focus our efforts on that. Now, I was thinking this morning when I was driving to the studio about how wonderful the sunshine is, and I thought, I hope this UK weather is not lulling us into a false sense of happiness, and the fact that next week the temperature is going to drop by 10 degrees and we're all going to be freezing and wearing jumpers and so on. It's absolutely gorgeous. I just love the UK at this time of year. I love the spring. I love the flowers and the trees and the buds, and the sunshine just adds so much to it, doesn't it? It just adds so much happiness. So let's, fingers crossed, let's do a few little prayers and thoughts up to the gods above us and say, please keep this sunshine going. But so Indie Author Week UK, the 9th to the 16th of June. As I said, we've got several events happening throughout Liverpool, and an event I believe is coming up in Shropshire, and looking at planning one in Wrexham as well. So just keep your eye on the Indie Author Week UK Facebook page, because that's where we update our events, and it's also on the website, which is indieauthorweekuk.org. So you can go on there and find out what's happening. Also on the website, which is really, really been great. We've got several guest blogs. So every week there's a blog from an independent author, and I think you'll find those really, really interesting if you're somebody who's sat at home writing your first book and not sure if you're doing the right thing or what happens next. There's a variety of different I guess I was going to say visions of different writers and where their journey started and what's taken them to today. So have a look at those blogs. You can see all of them. They're all listed on the website, and we've got one scheduled, a new one. It comes out every week leading up to Indie Author Week. I'm also actually going to be doing a live show here at Kellen FM on the 13th. I think it's the 13th. It's the Wednesday, and so I'm going to be sending out lots of information about that, and I do hope you'll listen, because I'll have several authors, illustrators, a variety of different people talking about their experience being an independent author or working with an independent author in the when it comes down to the illustrators. I don't know any of them actually who've written a book yet, but I think maybe Lisa, Holly, Carol, Alan, I know you've got a book started, but you haven't published one yet. So yeah, we need to encourage these brilliant, talented people to write a story as well as do their illustrations. So that's on Wednesday the 13th of June, and from 12 to 1 we'll be live with, as I said, various guests in the studio. it is very difficult actually doing a radio show by yourself without anyone else to talk to. So apologize if it sounds like I'm rambling on a bit. That's why I keep going to tracks, so you don't have to keep listening to my voice rambling. But I just want to say that I'm very, very humbled to be working with all of these authors. I believe I really need to count them up, but I know we're pushing close to 60 books that we've published in the last 3 years. So that's a lot of, some of them are the same author, and it's been more than one book. So it's not 60 different authors, but it's pushing 60 books. And it's a lot of responsibility, and I feel that sometimes very heavily on my shoulders as to the responsibility to help these writers to get their books published and to do it right, and make sure their book is the best it can be. So I do feel humbled, and I thank every one of you who are listening, who have come to Team Author and trusted us with what effectively is one of your babies, because your book you've put so much of yourself into that. So it's very important that that somebody treats it with respect. I think the biggest hurdle that we all have is the marketing side of it. And actually on the 16th of June in the morning, the day that we're launching the book Poetry and Prose in Motion, I'm actually having a marketing workshop where I've invited a few different people to come in and talk about their experiences with marketing. And I think we all just need to explore, think outside the box. Everyone just says, oh, social media. But, it's one thing to be writing things on Twitter or Facebook or posting images on Instagram, but you have to be actually reaching the right people. You can't just be posting willy-nilly and hoping with fingers crossed that people will pick it up and say, oh, well, that sounds interesting, and go to Amazon and buy your book. It doesn't work that way. It does have to be a little bit more planned than that. So you do things differently if it's a children's book, or if it's a novel, or if it's a nonfiction, a self-help book or something like that. There's different tactics, different things that you need to think of. So I'm going to be hosting that workshop on the 16th of June and looking forward to that. But again, what you really need to do, if we just want to narrow in on what I think is the most important thing, is you need to think about what the subject of your book is. So let's say it's a novel, and I'm going to take Mendes Harris as an example. David Harris, who writes as Mendes Harris. Now, David writes stories that are semi-autobiographical. It's based on his experiences working in the African gold mines. But it's a mystery. It's a bit of a crime mystery, but it's going to appeal to people who are perhaps there's a geologists. There's rocks involved in the whole thing, not just gold, but also different kinds of rocks come into it and so on. So you need to look at a book like that and say, okay, well, who are the people that are interested in these kinds of things? And let's go target those people. So if you find somebody who is maybe the Geological Society, or there might be a society for gold mines, or there might be even jewelers who make jewelry would be interested in it, because they're all interested in the kinds of things that happen in gold mines. So you have to think about those kinds of things. If you were writing, for example, a historical fiction novel, and it was, let's say, the Romans, the period in the Romans, then what you're going to do is you're going to look in the UK and find out what kind of societies are brought together, maybe having a conference, or what kind of events are happening around the country to do with Romans. And then you would approach those people and say, hey, I've written a book about the Roman period, and would it be suitable for me to come to your event, or have a stall at your event, or speak at one of your events? So those are all the kinds of things that you need to do. When it comes to children's books, it's a little bit easier, because you can go to nurseries, primary schools, brownies, Cub Scouts. There's often coming up to the summer is a perfect time because there's lots of outdoor events that communities hold, school fetes, summer fairs, things like that. So that kind of covers the children's market quite easily. And then, of course, if you're writing a book for your business, you've already got your own built-in clientele, and so you would talk to them. And your book basically just supports you in what you do. And it's funny how a book can make you a bit. If you say you're an author and you've written a book about a particular subject, all of a sudden it just means that you are considered more of an authority on that subject. So it can also really help boost your business and help. People want to buy your book, but they also will come to you because you're an authority on what you're talking about. And so if you were, say, a holistic therapist, and your book is about something specific to do with holistic therapy, not only are people interested in reading the book, but they may also be interested in coming to you for your services. So hopefully that's just a little bit of some ideas that maybe start germinating in your head about ways that you can look out. You need to seek, you need to think about. Basically, it boils down to who are my readers, who would be interested in reading my book, and is there any particular topic that my book is relevant to. Another quick one I'll just mention is the WI, the Women's Institute. They're always looking for guest speakers on specific topics. So get in touch with the secretary of your local WI and ask them. Some of them are booked up for months in advance, but get in touch with them. The Rotary Club as well is another one. Those are all kind of groups that they are always looking for guest speakers. So don't wait for them to come to you. You need to go to them. And again, as I said, Brownies, Cub Scouts, Beavers, they all have badges to do with reading. So the leaders of those groups are always looking for something new and interesting to do for the kids. So again, that's another opportunity to get in touch with them. Now, just a little shout out to two people who have launched their books just this week, actually, and done really well. The first one is Evelyn Batt, E.M. Batt, and Evelyn's book is called The Sock Hunt. She did really well. She was in the top 5, and that's a children's book, obviously. It's a book about those socks that we are always losing. Why do they go in the washing machine as a pair and they come out as singles, and then where do they go? So it's where the socks go on a hunt to find their pair. A cute little story and very brilliantly illustrated by Lisa Williams. And then the other book was My Dementia Journey, One Step at a Time, and that's by Tracy Goff. Now, Tracy was on the show back, I think it was November of 2017, and where we were chatting about her book and how she wants to be able to help people care. Primarily, this book is for carers of dementia patients. Tracy's a nurse, and she's written a brilliant kind of guide journal that goes along with carers, whether they're professional carers or whether it's a family member. Primarily, if it's a family member, I think, where you can write down your thoughts and help you to understand all of the things that your loved one is going through and why these things are happening. It must be such a terrible disease to watch someone that you care and love slowly change their personality and everything about them, and they stop recognizing you and so on. Must be very difficult. So I think this book is a must for anybody who's in that position. So that's called My Dementia Journey, and you can find that on Amazon. You can find both of them on Amazon. So My Dementia Journey, it's got a purple cover, and it's by Tracy Goff, Gough. And then The Sock Hunt is by Evelyn Batt, and her author name is E.M. Batt, Bhatt. Next week, we've got George and Maud. That's another children's book, a lovely book with George is a parrot, and Maud is the lady who owns the parrot, and they get up to lots of funny things. George is quite a mischievous parrot, kind of what you would think of from cartoon days. So, and that's brilliantly illustrated by Holly Bushnell as well. So that's coming out next week. Also, Let Go My Mango. Let Go My Mango is by Anna Mills, and another fun children's book about what happens when all the jungle animals want to just have this mango to themselves, and so what happens to the mango. So very cute as well. Illustrated by Lisa Williams. So yeah, we've got JoJo's Star coming out, which is based on JoJo the cat, who sadly went to pet heaven last year, and the author Leslie Rawlinson just wanted to write a story about her lovely cat, and also it's kind of hopefully will help children who may have lost their pet, and how they can feel that there's a star in the sky looking down on them. So that's JoJo's Star, and that's illustrated by Alan Jones. That's coming up in the next week or so. And then my next show is going to have a special guest, Chloe Gill. And Chloe is 12 years old. She wrote this little journal, 30 Ways to Be Positive and Happy. And her friend Eva Gehring, she did the illustrations. So Chloe's written the book, and Eva's illustrated it, and that's coming out early next week as well. So Chloe and her mum, Ali Gill, are going to be on my show next week. We are recording it next week because it is half term, so Chloe can come in and when she's not in school, and then it will air on the 6th of June. So I really hope that you'll listen to that. Chloe is just a lovely young woman who is going to grow up to be such a guiding light. She already is a guiding light for anyone who knows her, but as an adult, I think she's going to achieve awesomeness. So Chloe, we look forward to having you. And the book was designed by one of our designers, Emma Corkish. So thank you to Emma for stepping in and helping out Chloe with this project. There's several books coming up. Sportanova, Time for Bed Baby. We've got Icebound, Nova Bird, so many books. We've got the sequel to Grace and the Ghost. Yeah, it's going to be an incredibly busy June, and I'm trying to have all of these books live and published by early July. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we'll get there with the support of the team. I know we'll get there. A book I didn't mention before that it launched just last week was Time to Wake Up, Your Life is Calling. Now, that's written by Irene Remily, and I'm having Irene into the studio in a couple of weeks. So that is going to be explosive because Irene is just a bundle of energy zapping out of her from every orifice. And she's actually, it's going to be a bit nerve-wracking for me because she's a professional breakfast DJ, or at least she was, on a local radio station, and she's been a TV presenter. And so how that's going to go with her sitting across from me is, well, I guess you'll just have to listen and find out. So I'll give you more details on when she's going to be on the show. Again, I have a Facebook page for the Indie Author Show, so you can go in and see that, and you can also find where you can listen again to any of our shows. You can listen again right up until the next live show, so it's on there for a fortnight really, and then we do the live show again. I also have a Team Author UK has its own YouTube channel, and so we store all our interviews on that YouTube channel if you want to listen to that. We've also got another business book, a couple of business books that have come out with, including Time to Wake Up by Irene Remily. We also have Beyond Pleasure by Ali Gordon. Now, what is pleasure? Well, basically, it's tying your holidays and your leisure time in with business. It's a very interesting concept, and Ali has sussed this out and has been working really, really hard. So you need to go to Ali's website, which is businessnotusual.com, and you can find her book on Amazon as well, called Beyond Pleasure, which is basically leisure with a B. And find out if that is right for you and how perhaps you could incorporate a bit more leisure into your business, and how you can save for it. Very, very interesting concept. So highly recommend that book as well. We've got another book coming out. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how many books we've got coming out in the next couple of weeks. We've got Pippin and the Spectacular Vegetables. So that's about a cat and some Christmas witches and what they do with Santa's reindeer poo, basically. How they grow the biggest and most spectacular vegetables in the garden, and how they win trophies. And, it's all down to Santa's reindeer's poo. So very fun story, and that's been illustrated by Holly Bushnell as well. She did George and Maude and Pippin. So several books coming up on Amazon that you'll be able to buy them all through Amazon. You'll find them on the Team Author website as well if you can't remember them all and you think, oh, that sounds interesting. If you just go to the teamauthoruk.co.uk website, you'll be able to go to the books tab, and then you'll be able to click on them, find out more details, and if they have been published, you'll be able to go straight to the link on Amazon and buy them yourself. Now, I know I've thrown out a million zillion Facebook pages and websites to you today. So what I suggest is that if you just can remember this one, which is the Indie Author Show, if you go to Facebook, I will put all the links on there right now. As soon as I go off the air, I'll put all the links on there for all the different things I've been talking about. So just remember the Indie Author Show on Facebook. So we're coming up to the end of the show. An hour does go quickly, though maybe not quickly enough when you're talking by yourself. But I've really enjoyed this, and I enjoy my time and having the opportunity to do a radio show on Callan FM. So I thank everyone who does listen and who listens again and who shares our posts and who is a guest and comes on board and helps promote independent authors. Because local libraries, some independent bookshops, and local radio, you really need to explore the opportunities that are in your own community. There are events happening all over the UK, not just here in the Northwest, not just the ones I told you about, and people are registering those events on the indieauthorweekuk.org website. So if you're listening from further afield than Shropshire, North Wales, Cheshire, or Merseyside, there are events happening all over the UK. So please have a look and support your independent authors who work so hard to write their book and publish their book and promote their book. And everyone is worth, if you love books, everybody's book is worth reading. Yes, there's different genres, and you'll have your favorite genre, but perhaps maybe you could even look at supporting, if you run a book club or a writing group, perhaps you could look at supporting an independent author at your next book club during the month of June, or during the week of the 9th to the 16th of June. So lots of different ideas to get behind your local independent authors. Just make the effort to support them and perhaps share their posts on social media as well and help spread the word. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll just head out with this track, and I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. And as I said, my special guest is going to be 12-year-old Chloe Gill, who has written her first book. Thanks very much, everyone, and enjoy the sunshine.